Last March, I achieved a monumental life upgrade when I bought a van.
We got the damn van! Yes!
And shortly after began the ambitious task of outfitting it to live in full time. For months, I toiled over the optimal layout while making difficult decisions regarding elements I felt I could sacrifice and those I just couldn't live without. My friends Seth and Johnny both helped me build this van from scratch, and we brought you all along on the entire journey with us. Since wrapping up the van build last August, I've gotten so many questions from you all wondering how happy I am with the setup I chose. And now that I've had almost an entire year of living in the van, I can without a doubt say that although I really do love my van build, there are absolutely some things that I hate about it too. Whether it's something I left out of the van and wish I had, something we built and I think we could have improved, or something that was just such a pain in the ass that I wish we hadn't done it at all, here are 5 things that I hate about my very first van build. Real quick, before anyone starts jumping down my throat in the comments, I want you guys to know that I still am really in love with this van build and very grateful for the whole thing. This video is more of kind of a reflection for maybe for the next van build or anyone that's embarking on a van build journey of their own. So just want you guys to know that, and alright, let's get back to the video. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's start big picture with the van itself. I spent a long time finding just the right van. Sure, part of this was hesitation to pull the trigger on the largest purchase of my life, but another reason is that I had a very specific Ram 2500 model I was looking for. One that, among other things, included both a rear and side window. I could picture it perfectly. Me sitting in my van, editing my next video out in the middle of nowhere, taking it all in while sitting comfortably in my van and away from all of those pesky mosquitoes. So, I bought the van with windows. And then I promptly covered them up with this Reflectix. As it turns out, lighting and views are great and all, but to me, privacy is the even hotter commodity, and these windows were making that very difficult. The reality of my van life is that I spend quite a bit of time in civilization, whether for a collaboration, to visit friends, or simply to get good internet. Whatever the reason may be, when parking in a city, I want to be able to get in my van at the end of the day and have my own space that I can retreat to. For that reason, these covers have remained up on my windows ever since, making me constantly wonder why I ever paid for these windows in the first place. Hey, at least with these windows in the back, I can investigate whatever the heck is making all that racket outside without giving myself away. Okay, I'm gonna try my best to control myself while discussing this next one. Installing insulation was hands down the most confusing, infuriating, and arguably pointless aspect of my entire van build. I spent days scouring the internet for information on the best type, how much to use, and even whether to insulate at all. And all this only to learn that there is no definitive answer at all, and the deeper you dig, the more confused you become. To recap real quick, I ended up installing polyseal foam boards around the van floor, walls, and ceiling. I then filled every nook and cranny with fiberglass insulation, which I later learned was a poor choice for vans and could potentially be harmful to me. So, I decided to go through the arduous process of fishing it all out and replaced it with 3M Thinsulate. This mistake continues to haunt me as I am still finding remnants of this fiberglass in the tiniest of crevices around my van even to this day.
Oh my gosh. No way.
This whole process was a monumental pain in my ass, not to mention one of the most expensive parts of the van build. The biggest problem, however, lies in the fact that any insulation is only as good as its weakest link. Remember those windows we were just talking about? Yeah, I didn't think this one through. Although I have found some great custom insulated covers for the front windows, I still have massive areas over the side and rear windows that are not insulated, thus pretty much negating the effectiveness of everything else. Yikes. For my next van, I think I will most likely end up going with no insulation for a few reasons. First, it would absolutely cut down on cost, frustration, and build time. And finally, with no insulation, while it is true that the van will heat up faster, it will also cool down faster in the evenings, which is generally the time that I'm actually in it. And don't even get me started on vapor barriers. Next up, let's talk about power. Having a good electrical setup on my van is essential, and always having sufficient power ensures that no matter where I am in the country, I can continue to create videos for you all. No, I'm not saying that I hate having power in the van. On the contrary, I'm saying that now that I finally do have power on the road, I hate not having enough of it.
I just got back from grocery shopping and I went to turn on my lights and they won't turn on. I don't know what's going on. Come on!
In my power box, I have a single 100 amp hour battery that has been working overtime since the day it was installed. This single battery is responsible for running my fridge, fan, charge station, both my laptops, my phone, and my internet. That's quite a lot of output, and it's almost always draining faster than it's charging via solar. Luckily, the battery can be recharged in two ways, either from the 300-watt solar panel on the roof or directly from my van when it's running. This setup has been working great, and for the most part, it's done surprisingly well, all things considering. However, throughout the last year, I've had an increasingly difficult time keeping everything charged, which eventually led me to do some investigating.
That was actually a lot easier than it normally is. We've officially found the culprit of all my electrical problems. Check this out.
Solenoid. This post right here is kind of discolored, and this one's bright copper, really nice. It's because this is where all the heat was. Yeah, I mean, you can see because it got so hot, everything got all brittle, and that was causing a lot of resistance. Culprit's a solenoid.
Dude.
Now, this was a 80 amp. I would have thought that 80 amp would be enough for a camper van, but
How much is the new one?
it's 200 amp.
Turns out quite a bit of the inefficiencies I was experiencing were due to this issue. And as I write this sentence, I am heading deep into Yellowstone National Forest, so here's to hoping that new solenoid will help keep me powered more efficiently out here. Should I do it all over again, I would definitely opt for another battery and solar panel. Though this stuff is very expensive, making sure I have enough power in the van at all times is priceless as it powers my mobile business.
This is so ridiculous. I cannot believe we
Whose idea was this?
Legit the last
It might have been partially mine.
hour.
Oh my gosh, but it looks cool.
There's approximately 100-ish square feet in my van, and for anyone that has lived in such a small space, you know that keeping a small space tidy is crucial. When designing my van, I made sure that everything had a place where it belonged so that finding it when I needed it would be easy. Or so I thought. As it turns out, I do have plenty of storage space overall, but what I later realized is that I'm lacking purposeful organization within that space. A great example of this problem is my kitchen supply drawer. Because it was the biggest drawer I had, it naturally became my kitchen bin by default, and I currently have everything kitchen related dumped in there together. Anytime I want to get at something from this drawer, I pretty much have to take everything out and then put it all back in again. This probably doesn't seem like a huge deal at first, but I assure you, after a couple times unloading, reloading everything, only to realize you've forgotten that other thing you need, it becomes quite a pain in the butt. One of my main storage units is this workbench that we bought and bolted to the inside of this van. This has been a fantastic solution in many ways as it's allowed me to store valuables in it and lock the drawers. The issue with the storage in the workbench is that most of the drawers are pretty shallow and kind of flimsy. If I were to pick another workbench for a future van, I'd probably look for one with some vertical storage and deeper drawers, along with some stronger slides. Another piece of organization I wish I had built in is some hanging storage. I can even remember taking the tour of Hannah's van and her telling me, "You can never have enough hooks." Man, I wish I had listened to that. The specific struggle often encountered on the road is what to do with dirty or wet clothes, and how to get them dry before they mildew and stink up the place. I thought I had this problem solved with that nifty clothesline in the back of my van, but it didn't take me long to realize that wasn't really gonna work unless I left my bed in couch mode all the time. I've come to make do by hanging wet clothes on my door with clothespins or just draping them in the back of the van on my bikes. I also utilize the space next to my bed to put clothes I plan on wearing the next day again, but that has quickly gotten a little out of hand and kind of become the no man's land for clothes that aren't quite clean but not quite dirty either. Overall, I'd say that we did a great job making sure there was enough room for all of my belongings in the van, but next time I will definitely be going a step further while planning to create more purpose-built storage to make my day-to-day life in the van a little bit more seamless. I'd imagine that you all probably expected me to start this entire list off with something like the fact that I don't have a toilet or shower in here. But honestly, neither one of these was nearly as much of an issue to me as the final item on this list: not having running water in the van. When living in an apartment or home, I rarely thought about the convenience of having running water. While living in a van without it, I have quickly realized just how many little daily tasks this complicates. Think about brushing your teeth. Where do you spit it out? Want to wash your hands off quickly? Nope. And oh man, does it make cooking hard. As of now, in order to do anything requiring water, I have to first pull out one of two massive 7-gallon water jugs and set it up. If I'm going to be filling up my water bottle, making coffee, or cooking, I'll generally just set it up hanging off the edge of the counter inside. If I need to do something like clean dishes, however, I need to set it up so that the water falls out of the van onto the ground, so I've been using my Yeti cooler to prop it up. Again, none of this is really that big of an issue if I'm out camping, which is why I think I was fooled into thinking I didn't need running water in the first place. See, when I was living out of my hatchback Sheila, I had to seek out places to park each night that I could put my tent up anyway. Since I was camping outside, it wasn't that big of a deal to also be doing all the water-related stuff outside too. Now that I have the freedom to park wherever, I'm much more concerned with being self-contained inside the van so that I can remain stealthy. And frankly, opening my van door up to spit out my toothpaste kinda gives away my cover. Of all the things I don't like about my first van build, this one is top priority to me. So, on my way back to Asheville last month, I sketched up a little diagram to show how I thought it could all work in my current setup, and I sent it over to my buddy Johnny from the Crafted Workshop channel. Now, I'm sure many of you all have been wondering why on earth I chose to drive all the way across the country to Asheville when I had plans to be in British Columbia a mere month later. Well, now you know. During the final 2 weeks of my stay in Asheville, Johnny and I have been working tirelessly on a van renovation that addresses some of these major issues discussed in this video. In the next video, I'm going to not only share with you all some of my favorite aspects of the original van build, but also reveal the new project that we've been working so hard on. I seriously cannot wait to show you guys what we've done. I'll see you all next week for that one, and in the meantime, if you want to get a refresher on the whole van build from start to finish, I'll put a link to the playlist right here as well as down in the description below. That's it for today. Thank you all for watching, and until I see you guys next time, you know what to do. Live free, ride hard, and get stoked.
Up, guys? We are here with Crafted Workshop, and check out this freaking new place of his.
Oh yeah!
Yo! If you haven't been paying attention to the Crafted Workshop channel, Johnny just moved into a brand new workspace, and I'm pretty honored to be the first project, official first project out of here, and let me show you guys what we're doing today. Check. So one of my, not biggest gripes, but one of the things I missed most about the van was the ease of cooking and washing my hands and washing off vegetables and fruit and whatnot. So check this out. We're putting in a sink. We're already pretty far too. Yeah. We have had to empty out the entire workbench. I will still, as we know it, have functionality out of here. You can see this whole side is going to be compromised, but there's going to be a water jug in there. But the coup de grace is really this sink. Look at this sink. What'd you say earlier?
It's nicer than my kitchen sink.
And he just moved into a new house.
Yeah, it's ridiculously nice.
So we got I wanted a nice deep sink. It's 10 inches down, and I also wanted a wand. So this is going to open up a lot of options for me in the van, whether it be filling up my Camelback, washing off vegetables, washing dishes, stuff like that. So I am really, really excited. And you guys, if you're interested in like the entire build, the video is going to go on his channel. I'm going to show you guys just the final project, all the fun stuff and me putting it to use. But to see how he did it, check out Crafted Workshop.
It's a pretty accessible thing too. I mean, almost everything we've done in the van is pretty simple. I mean, dude, we've been using a jigsaw, you know, it's not exactly like fancy tools.
That's true.
It's very simple.
It's true. So yeah, it'll be a really cool project. Go check that out. And I don't know what else to say. We'll show you and get stoked. We'll show you the final project in a little bit.